Have you ever felt surprised or unprepared when things change in the world of social media? We felt the same way. We were tired of reacting to constant changes in marketing, algorithms, and consumer behavior, so we found a better way. Scan Club has been our secret weapon for over a year now, and we're excited to finally be sharing it with you. This approach has helped us future-proof our strategies and feel less reactive. It's not a crystal ball, and it doesn't allow us to predict everything, but it's helped us level up our work and collaborate more than ever before. So how does it work? Twice a month, you'll get a copy of Scan Club right to your inbox. It's our breakdown of the top signals we're watching and why they matter. You'll learn to spot these signals, understand their impact, and produce your content with confidence. Get the feature in your inbox, click the link in our description to subscribe today.
That is what wisdom is, right? It's just like understanding that you have a blind spot or a shortfall, but having the humility to go out there and ask the question, even if it looks trite, even if it makes you look stupid. A lot of people love answering it and love parting with their wisdom.
Welcome back to Waves, powered by Arcade, a show for marketers, creators, and entrepreneurs who want to stop chasing the tide and start making waves online. We're your hosts, Mike and Mitzi, and today we're joined by Valentin Ozich.
Valentin, otherwise known as V, is the founder and creative director of the fashion brand I Love Ugly, which he started out of his bedroom 15 years ago with no business or fashion experience. He's focused not only on building a great business, but is passionate about living life to the fullest. He joined us a year ago to share the story of building to the brink of bankruptcy and has returned this year by popular request to dig more into the topic of mindset. Valentin, we're so excited to have you back on the show. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. I'm really excited too. Thank you for having me back.
Yeah, just a disclaimer, I'd say for anyone listening, if you haven't yet heard our first interview from a year ago, I'd encourage you to hit pause quick on this one and go back to episode 58 from August of last year to hear Valentin's story, and then come back to this one as a great part two. But that said, let's get into it. I feel like we got a lot of good stuff to cover and just never enough time. But Valentin, it's been a year since our first interview. A lot can happen in that amount of time. Catch us up a bit on how things are going, what's happened with you and the business since we last sat down together.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, we were just reminiscing before how quickly that time has gone, but it it has been a pretty wild 12 months for me, both personally and in the business. In the business world, we've opened up a couple new shops, which have been great. I've been very involved in that project, which I always enjoy some aspects of it, but the whole project management aspect of it, I don't enjoy. But it's also nice to have a physical representation of a brand and people coming in, engaging with the brand. So that's been real nice. They've been a real success as well. So we've had that. We've also launched women's wear, which was in the making for a couple of years. So we launched that in November, I believe, or late October last year. And it's done really well. Probably not quite as well as what we expected, but at the same time as well, it's I also need to kind of practice what I preach, and also know that whatever sometimes you decide to do things and launch things and they don't always quite go out, or begin how you intend them to, and you just have to adapt and learn and make the necessary adjustments. So that's been really good. The business has just grown, continuing to grow exponentially. The team, I think now there's maybe 65 of us, including all the retail and warehousing, just going from strength to strength in that regard. From a personal perspective as well, just what we mentioned on the show, I lost my brother in May this year, which was pretty hard, just through mental health and just kind of navigating it with him, before it happened, and then also post what happened just with my family, because we're quite a close family. There's 6 kids in my family, obviously 5 now, and just navigating that even with my children, and then just it gave me like a real just perspective on what is most important in life. And due to that, like I was this year marks the 15th year of doing I Love Ugly, and I knew that something within me was changing, and I was at that point where I had to step out of the way in order for people to rise up. And coincidentally, I'd made that decision before my brother's passing, and I'd announced it to the staff, and I'd actually stepped away. So essentially resigned from the day to day, but still involved in, say, big projects, special projects, and sitting on the board. And I think it's quite a hard step to take as a founder of a business, to actually step away and have the whole operation run without you. So that's been a bit of a journey in itself. And I'm now moving out of Auckland, New Zealand, to a smaller town with my new partner, and her two little girls. So my three kids and I are going to be moving here in the new year, which will be really nice, just a bit more of a balance. And that's basically been it. So it doesn't sound like much, but a lot of those things individually have been quite big, and they've almost shaped my character and who I am quite significantly.
Yeah. Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is not a little
quite
bit.
the
That's
year.
a lot.
Yeah.
Absolutely sorry for your loss. We were chatting about this, and I have a brother myself, and I can't imagine the pain that you'd go through experiencing something like that unexpectedly. So, yeah, feeling for you, man. It sounds like a lot's going on with the business. Cool to hear about women's wear. Been seeing some of the new shops that you've been opening up as we just follow along on social. Maybe a funny question, but you mentioned you're moving to a different town. But I feel like last time we chatted, you had kind of moved into the middle of nowhere, right? Like you're close to Auckland, but kind of out in the bush.
Yeah, pretty much. And this place, yeah. So I was just feeling a little bit isolated, and I'm moving to a place called Raglan, which was a pretty famous it's another surf town, but it's also a very creative and entrepreneurial town, like a lot of young families. And you got a lot of people from Europe and South America and Australia. They really gravitate towards this place. As I said, it's quite bustling in the sense of, like, a lot of people go there with work flexibility, obviously enjoy the outdoor lifestyle, like the lifestyle work balance. So moving there, and I think just my daughter, she's an avid surfer. I want to enroll her into the surf academy there as well.
Love it.
Yeah, just a little bit different, but at the same time, it's only a couple hours away from Auckland, so I can still drive up during the day if need be. Hopefully don't need to do that too often, but maybe once a fortnight I can come up for a couple of nights. Yeah, I just want to change. I think change is good. And when you feel uncomfortable doing something because it's a little bit scary, I think for me personally, it makes me really realize that I'm on the right track. And it's almost been my guide throughout life. And I think the more I've learnt to trust that and lean into that, the better the results. It just yields for me great results. I think a lot of people shy away from things that a little bit are unfamiliar. But I think a lot of great stuff is behind closed doors that a lot of people are too scared to open. So I'm just in that stage of my life, so I'm looking forward to a bit of a fresh start.
Makes me think of a couple books I really like. One of them being The War of Art. I don't know if you've read that.
Yeah, I read it years ago.
And then
maybe
The Obstacle is the Way.
Yeah. Big Ryan Holiday fan. Yeah, those are great books.
Yeah, I was actually just in a conversation a couple of days ago where we were talking about The War of Art, and I was like, man, I feel like that's a book I need to revisit right now. So
yeah,
might have to pick that one up again. Anyone listening that hasn't read it, you got to check it out.
Yeah, I'm the same, actually.
For sure.
Yeah. All right, well, we can read it together, start a book club.
Why not?
But hey, you've gone through a lot of ups and downs with I Love Ugly over the last year. The last 15 years, to be honest. And we really got into it in that first interview. But for this conversation specifically, we want to focus more on mindset and even discipline. So to start off that part of the conversation, talk to us about how you keep your mind in the right place through both the wins and the losses. And how do you keep a good perspective?
Yeah, I think it's a great question as well. Like, to be honest, even in the last few days, I've kind of felt quite drained and depleted. But at the same time as well, I've not let the way I feel let me get off, dropping my good habits. So the way I kind of stay on track is I've been, like, journaling is just such an amazing tool. I can't remember if I touched on that last time, but it's essentially giving yourself therapy every single day, and you're just you're essentially just clearing your mind, getting your thoughts on paper, and you can then go through and start to dissect and unravel and unwind, a few of the emotions or the clutter in your mind that is going on. And I think it's a fantastic way just to give yourself almost you're reflecting back on your mind, what's going on in your mind. So that's a great one. Obviously, exercise, sunlight, moving your body, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes. A lot of people, they're too lazy, whether it be laziness or scared to start on, a fitness regime. But all it takes is 5 minutes. Just go for a walk for 5 minutes, and your body will start vibrating. You'll just start to feel good. I think just standing guard of your mind as well. Like if the first thing you do when you get up is go on your phone, you're just going to basically deplete yourself of all the dopamine receptors in your brain. And I think just kind of steering clear of your phone for as long as possible, steering clear of your phone and steering clear of caffeine, at least for the first hour of the day, I think it's going to set you up to have a good day, because you're just hormonally and emotionally, there's all sorts of shit kind of going on in that first morning. But if you're starting to jack it up with caffeine and then stripping out all your dopamine receptors first thing through what's going on Instagram or TikTok, it's just going to make you feel a little bit off balance. So for that, I fast every day as well till around 1 o'clock, and I think that really helps me just to stay focused and gives my system a bit of a reset. Mentally, I feel a lot clearer and sharper because of that. But I think also, like, maintaining the perspective, it's just like understanding that, in life there's going to be ups and downs. And then when you have the wins, like really enjoying them and just savoring it, but also at the same time knowing it's not gonna last forever. And when you have some losses, understand that these losses are actually a gift wrapped up in disguise. Like, these can be your greatest lessons, your greatest teacher, and they can really sculpt you to become a better human being, a better person. And that's the way I kind of view it and keep my perspective, and just knowing that this life is short. And, after losing my brother, at 30 years old, it just really gave me perspective on how short life is. It can happen, like the odds of us even being here are pretty slim to none. And then when we are here, we just end up, as we become older, just burdening ourselves with all these frivolous bullshit, but you actually realize that, once you kind of strip away like the stresses of work and bills and being a parent, like life can actually be, life should be celebrated as much as possible, and, it should be there to be lived every day as much as possible. It's easy to say. It's hard to do, but I think the more you kind of practice doing it, the better even the mundane moments can become. I don't know if that kind of answers your question. I went a bit,
No, I think it's great, because I think, like, as entrepreneurs or business owners, it's almost like you're always looking ahead and you're not staying focused on like what's in front of you. And unless something's going bad, I feel like, for me at least, I really can dwell on things when things feel hard or tough. It's really hard for me to mentally get over it. And then when things are going well, or even like when things are, I have a win, I speed through it, because I'm thinking, what's next? What's the next quarter look like? What are our plans? Like, and, that's in some ways, that's good. That's what drives me. But in other ways, it's like, it's not serving me when I think about my career and longevity as an entrepreneur, and making sure that I like really celebrate those moments, because you need that in order to get through the losses.
Absolutely. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point? You're just grinding. And I know life is a grind, but at the same time, when you do have those wins, I think it's so important. It doesn't have to be a ridiculous celebration. It could be something kind of small, like just, I don't know. It's like today I might take the afternoon off and just chill with a friend or my partner or myself, or, not feel guilty about it. Just really savor the moment and just be like, okay, I'm gonna celebrate this and take it in and just enjoy this feeling that I'm getting right now. I think it's, no harm in that. I think,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs do have a tendency to be very hard on themselves. And I think and that's one thing I've really learned in the last couple of months is like, it can really serve you extremely well. But at the same time, you need to get to a point in your life where you no longer need that. You no longer need that feeling of constantly being hard on yourself, just to charge through, turbocharge everything to get the job done, to get the task done, to get the business. It needs to, there comes a point where it's just like, okay, cool. I don't need to be so hard on myself. I can just start to take the foot off the gas and just see where life kind of takes me by not being hard on yourself, just being a little bit more going with the flow, and it feels quite nice. It's real weird to get used to, super weird to get used to. But once you get used to it, you just start to slow down and you notice your heartbeat. I got myself an Apple Watch and I'm starting to like measure, and you just notice it's such a profound difference when you're just a little bit more chill and just open. And
Yeah, that's good. I feel like having kids for me really like took me on that journey of, you were talking about how life is meant to be celebrated, like when you peel back your work and your business and the things that are causing you stress. And I feel like that's been something I've been really working through the last couple of years specifically, but finally seeing some progress just in myself this last year. Being able to understand like what's actually making me feel like this, and how do I even like turn it into layers so it's not just like one pile of all of this stuff kind of jumbled together that I can't decipher, but actually understanding like business is one thing that's causing certain types of stresses and feelings. Family is another thing, and that's completely separate from these anxieties that come with the work that I do. And how do I leave one in its own bucket or its own layer so that I can enjoy the other without tainting it or like diluting it? And comes down to like also like how much you're working too. You mentioned like it just ends up being a grind. And I don't think grinding is necessarily bad. I think there's seasons for that, but also I think there's not necessarily.
definitely seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, and also there's a difference between grinding and working hard. Like you can work hard without it necessarily being a grind too, in my opinion. And that's kind of
Mm,
a balance I'm trying to find is like I am always going to show up and work hard because I believe in what I'm doing. But I think this season for me, I'm not meant to be grinding. I want to be available mentally and spiritually and everything for my kids and my wife and my friends and my family and the rest of my life. And I think that's kind of what you're getting at, if I'm not wrong.
definitely. Yep. Pretty bang on. Yep. Agree with that.
One thing you've always talked about is how you should work harder on yourself than your business. And we're kind of talking about that already a little bit, but can you unpack that specifically a little bit more for us?
It's quite interesting. Like as I stepped away, um, it's taken a while, and I've got these young cats kind of coming through and taking my role and training up other people that are taking other aspects of my role. And there's certain things you can see. Everybody has blind spots, and they're a killer at their job, but they could be better simply by making a few, say, lifestyle changes in their personal life. And when you come to the job and you're feeling revitalized and you're feeling full of energy and abundant, you're going to be more creative, you're going to be better at solving problems, and therefore you'll do your job better. And that's kind of what I mean. It's just like work harder on yourself. By working harder on yourself, you start to develop the tools and the mindset and the attitude that when you do face the obstacles, you'll be able to overcome them. When there is a problem that needs to be solved, you'll be able to solve it. When you do need to grind out a 12 15-hour day, you'll have the energy to do it. You get all that by working harder on yourself. And I just feel that a lot of people miss that aspect. They almost feel that in life they just have to work hard in their job, and then their selves become secondary, and their family becomes, it's almost like their family second, and then they become, I don't know, third, fourth, fifth in the in line. But I think that just by working hard on yourself, I just think it solves so many problems, and a lot of people just miss that. And it's just a bit of a different psychology how you approach your life. I stole that from a guy called Jim Rohn. He's like a pretty famous kind of personal developer, old school dude, which is really cool to listen to, and I recommend your listeners listen to as well. And he talks about that, and I fully get it. If you take care of your diet and you exercise and you journal and you take care of yourself spiritually, you just become a more whole and well-rounded person. And then when you're more whole and well-rounded, you just show up better and you just kick ass in your job. And I showed this guy, there's this guy that works for me. He's now the lead menswear designer. And I was like, oh, go see this guy who I've been seeing for the last 10 years, for supplements and whatnot. And then he didn't even realize it, but he was dealing with stress. He was dealing with anxiety. He couldn't sleep properly. His energy was pretty flat. And this guy, told him a bunch of stuff and gave him a bunch of supplements, like some lion's mane and things like that. And this guy texted me like 10 days after, and he's like, holy shit, I don't even recognize myself. And I guess that's just an example. It's just like, but if you do that in every other aspect of your life, that will just accumulate and compound, and you'll come to the point where you become unrecognizable. And I just definitely reckon that's been the secret to my success. Is I've spent so much time, money, and energy on myself, and like every morning I'm making sure that I'm focusing on myself, because my personal well-being and mental health and everything is the most important thing for everybody. Not only for myself and for the job, but for my kids, for my partner, for my friends, for everything. And you do that right, everything else just takes care of itself. And I think, in life, it's like a lot of people's success. People see it and they just assume that they had a kick-ass product, or they just grinded. Yeah, there's an element of hard work, but I guarantee you there's this whole different side of it that people aren't seeing. And it's quite spiritual as well. It's like having that belief system and in place. And I've been, I love kind of working even into the subconscious mind, and then setting intentions and setting a goal is essentially you're putting out to the world exactly what you want, and you're making your brain focus, like you're almost commanding your brain what you want. It's like, and you don't have to know how it all unfolds. That's not your job. It's like when you go to a restaurant, you pick something off a menu and you're like, sweet, I want, this steak or whatever, medium rare, and you give it to the waiter or the waitress, and then they go back, and it's not your job to think about the chef, how he's going to prepare it and all this and that. All you do is set your order, off the menu. And I think that's what life is like. It's like start with your goals, set your order, which is your intentions, your goals, and then just do the work, and then you'll start getting little downloads, and your subconscious will start telling you things that perhaps you're missing, or that you're lacking, or that you need to strengthen. And that, to me, is working harder on yourself. And I think everything else will start to take care of itself. And there's, this could be a whole conversation on its own, but just all the basic stuff that even what I said on the last episode, it's like, what you put in your mouth, what you put in your mind, what you allow into your life, the people that you surround yourself with, like that's working harder on yourself, and everything else just starts to take care of itself. You just start to seek the answers. That's all business is, really. It's a bunch of problems, and all your job is to figure out the answers, and a lot of the answers are out there. There's been so much life lived, and pretty much everything you're experiencing, someone else has experienced, and they've also recorded it. It's your job to go out there and try to find the answer.
This is great timing for me, because I'm coming up on a birthday, and for me personally, like just a reminder of, to work on yourself, and other things will just feel easier. Not easier, but maybe clearer, especially when it comes to business. And you mentioned something about like starting with your goals and then setting your intentions. When you have done this work for yourself, is that how you started? Is thinking about what you want to accomplish and then figuring out how you need to show up in order to achieve those things?
Yeah, definitely. I think so I set a goal. I wanted to create a global brand. And this is when I was literally, drawing until 2:00 in the morning, just doing designs to put on t-shirts. But I had these visions of like, people in the US or UK or wherever else in the world wearing my product. And then I just started to write that down. But I think if you write down a goal and you accompany it with a reason why you want to achieve that goal, you start tapping into the emotional part of yourself as well. And when you've got, so writing down the goal is like you're commanding your brain, but if you have a reason behind it and that reason's, it kind of evokes some emotion within you, you're getting the heart and the mind in unison. And that's almost becomes, I don't want to get like scientific spiritual voodoo or whatever, but I've proved this time and time again. It almost becomes electromagnetic and you start seeing things that you perhaps otherwise wouldn't have noticed. And that's simply because you've got your intentions and you've got what you want working in harmony. And I think it's such a powerful tool, and sometimes it can happen super quick and sometimes it can take a little bit longer. But I think if you start doing it and practicing it, people will start to surprise themselves around how powerful this stuff is. Everything I've kind of written down in the last few years, where I've started to become a real avid goal lister, and I get to the point where I list it in categories. So I'll have goals for my relationships, more my relationship, goal for my health, goal for my business, goal for my finances, my children. Start writing it down. It's like, holy shit. When you write it, it's almost like, it almost seems a little bit unattainable. But when you reflect back on it, say a year later, and you're like, crap, I've knocked off 80-90% of this stuff, and 10% that's left is already in motion. Like there's already a whole bunch of steps happening to achieve that. So yeah, I think goals, so important, so important. If you don't know what you want, you're just, I don't know, you're doing. If you don't know what you want, you'll realize that once you do figure out what you want, that a lot of the work that you did was actually aimless. People get so caught up in productivity, thinking that they're being effective. But once you actually know what you want, you'll just focus on effectiveness rather than productivity. And you just cancel out so much more noise, so much more crap. You'll start to offload it to other people that are more passionate about that thing that drains you emotionally, drains your energy, and you're not even that good at it. The only way you can get to that place is by figuring out what you want.
Man, this is what I came here for. I feel like you were already blowing my mind. You're already blowing my mind when you said to like not just write what you want to accomplish, but why. That in and of itself was enough to like just like get me going. But then when you started to talk about how that actually aligns your head and your heart and
Yeah.
can like create this like deeper like magnetic motion, like, oh my God, dude, that was crazy.
Yeah, I appreciate that's good. I'm real happy about it. And I think women have a tendency to, they always speak from their heart. And for men, it's a feminine energy. Men, we're always up here. We always try to make sense of stuff. And even like say a woman, she's got a problem or whatever, and you come in, a man will come in and we try to solve it straight away. She doesn't want her problems to be solved. She just wants to be heard, And I think it's like having that
Right.
balance, with goals. It's like, if you just come from your heart and it's all lofty, that's great. That's half of the plan done, your emotion, but you actually need a plan, otherwise it's just lofty. And
Yeah.
a dream without like a goal and a deadline is just a fantasy, really. But if you can get the two in harmony,
Mm-hmm.
it's incredible what you can achieve. Like, it's just mind boggling. Some people can achieve some incredible stuff by getting those two things in harmony without actually doing the work. It's just on automatic. It's just giving themselves like a bit of a compass, like a bit of a map.
Serious.
And that stuff has been,
Serious.
real fascinating. It's so fascinating. And there's so many great books about it as well. But at the same time, you need to be open-minded. And that's all faith is, I think sorry, I'm going a real tangent, but religion's kind of labeled faith to the point where a lot of people that aren't into religion, they think it's taboo and it puts them off. But that's all faith is, believing into something that's not quite real yet. But the scientific name is electromagnetic. Just the heart and the head, get them in unison. It's incredible.
Right. Man, so good. And what you talked about like goals without reasons is just like productivity for the sake of productivity, but it's inefficient. Like that rings so true to me. And I'm sure so many people listening, like you got your people that are like, I need to work out more, or I need to get up earlier, or man, I need to spend more time with my kids, or things like that. It's all just things that we kind of intrinsically know that would be better for us, but we haven't really applied like vision or direction to it beyond just the activity itself. And I think that's why so many people abandon these goals or these activities so quickly, is because it's almost cliche at this point. They don't have their why.
Yeah, they don't have their why, and also patience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we live in this culture of instant gratification, and through Instagram, or if you want any answer to any question, you just Google it and it's instant. And we've almost tricked our brains into thinking that's how life is. And I think everything that is good takes time, takes a little bit of time, takes some patience and some perseverance, and just keep persisting on what you want, and just not losing your faith in your goal or your vision. It's and that's where like that whole spiritual aspect and the spiritual well-being, which has really clicked for me, especially this year, is so important. Like, because that just opens, everybody has that skill and that potential, but it's just like we're so addicted to being busy, we're too scared to just be present and be by ourselves and even be fucking bored, because being bored, all of a sudden all this shit surfaces that you've neglected because you've been too busy being busy. And that, I think it's, and that's even something that I've been extremely guilty about. But this year I've really tried to make that change, and just be a bit of a testament to that.
Mm-hmm. I wanted to ask you about your longevity as an entrepreneur and a business owner, and being in the same company for 15 years. I mean, I've been doing our company for 5 years, and when I think about 15, like the commitment and the drive and the it just takes so much out of you, especially riding all the bumps that come with building and scaling a business. So I'm just curious if you have any tips for how to get past seasons where you want to give up. And then it's so interesting to be asking you at this point in time, because I know you're stepping away from things. So I'm sure you kind of got through moments or seasons where you were close to giving up or close to stepping away. And then what kind of inspired you to help you know that now is the time to let other people get in front and lead the day-to-day so that you can kind of step back?
Yeah, 15 years. Yeah, it's a long time. It's pretty much for how old my daughter is, and every time it's her birthday, I'm reminded. Um, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody. I just knew that I've got a trait in me where I kind of never give up, and it's kind of good and it's bad, because I think it's also sometimes it can be a very noble thing and a wise thing to give up on something. But I think for me is I just knew within me that when this task will be complete, the task of I Love Ugly will be complete. And all those years ago when I wanted to give up was because I was just in the shit, and I was like, neck deep in debt, had millions of dollars of debt, and it was just uncomfortable. And the sane thing to do is quit. Like, why would anyone want to continue and almost imprison themselves willingly? It doesn't really make sense. And I think to be an entrepreneur, it doesn't sometimes make sense, especially to the people that aren't entrepreneurs. And I also wouldn't recommend it to everybody. And this is why I'm saying earlier in the conversation is work hard on yourself, because it's inevitable that you're going to encounter challenges, and you're going to encounter walls, and you're going to have problems where you've run out of cash, or you can't get customers, and you can't think why. Like, the only way you can actually break through that is your psychology. And I think the way I stuck it through was, I think I had a why, I had my reason, I had my goal of what I wanted to do. But when it got hard, I didn't want to do it because I couldn't be bothered. I felt I was energy depleted. But since I had a compelling reason to go through with it, I got through. And a lot of that was my children. And I wanted to provide my children with a lifestyle, not spoil them, but just, a lifestyle, and provide them with opportunities if they were into say surfing or a certain sport, I could provide them with that opportunity. And also just to show them that, with hard work and intelligence, plus all the other stuff that I've been mentioning so far, once you stick to that and believe in that, you can almost achieve anything, like almost anything. And that's what I also ultimately wanted to prove to myself as well. But as I said, it's a good trait and it's a bad trait. It can serve me very well, but at the same time, I'm in a season where I'm a bit more open and I'm just going to go with the flow a little bit. But um, I think that I think that just if you do have something or you're starting something, a business, it's just not just knowing that it's 100% inevitable that you're going to face some massive challenges. It's going to make you question yourself. It's going to make you question your values. It's going to make you question, why the hell am I doing this? And you'll definitely want to quit. But I think if you've got your compelling reason as to why you're doing this, and I don't think it can just be money either. Because the thing is, like, I've lost, I've like had no money. I've been, as I said, millions of debt and had a lot of money. And it's quite interesting. Like, your money doesn't make you as happy as you think. I think people think that money solves all issues. It solves a few issues, money issues, but it doesn't solve that kind of that inner richness, that inner wealth. And I think all it does is amplifies who you already are. So if you're a miserable bastard, you've got more reasons now to be more miserable. If you're happy, you've also got more reasons now to be happy, because then you can start serving others and helping others. So I don't know if that really kind of answered your question, but yeah, businesses, starting something and going on this journey, it's just understanding it is a journey. But if you can conquer it and get on top of yourself, it can be amazing as well, because it just creates, like, your earning capacity is limitless. You have the opportunity to design your life and your working hours and where you want to live and the freedom associated with it. Those are all amazing things that come from starting your business, but at the same time, it's hard. It's hard, and I don't think everybody is born to do this. Some people are. I think there's also some people that are completely capable and born to do this and amazingly talented and creative, but they just don't have the courage. But it's usually the people that have the most courage and are willing to sacrifice and are willing to endure, despite not having the smarts and the intelligence, are the ones that do well. And I think I'm a testament to that. Like, I always thought I was dumb, until I started believing otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's super helpful for me. I think starting a business is easy, and then I can see sometimes the finish line, and it's almost like romanticized for me when people either sell a business or they step out of the day-to-day like you're doing. And I think that sounds so awesome, because you've built something that can sustain, other people, but you're also able to have some sort of say in it. I think the hardest part is like the middle part. It's like that feels messy and hard to keep going. But I think what you're saying about, like, just making sure that you have everything that you need for yourself to continue, and you're clear on the why that you're in it, that's kind of like what's going to help sustain you through that.
Definitely, definitely. And I think if you're feeling exhausted and tapped out, do something different. Take a break, 1 week, 2 weeks, even though your mind is telling you that you can't and that the whole thing's going to melt down when you're gone. You definitely can. You always can. And the interesting thing is, sometimes when that's it, that's the answer of what to do, life will just intervene and force you to. Something will happen, like, you'll lose a family member, or you might get sick, or this or that, and you're literally forced to. So I think it's really important, and that's something that I've learned in the last few years in order to sustain myself, is to take breaks and book it in, and also book it in when you don't feel like you need it, because by the time you need a break, it's almost too late. So if you book it in, even if you're in a good flow of momentum and things are going good, and you've booked it in and that date is coming, just follow through with it. do that. Also taking, attending seminars and things like that, and just getting yourself out of your environment, I think is so healthy for you. You become so conditioned to the environment in which you live in every single day, and what it actually does, it starts to shut off certain parts of your brain, and it's not until you go into a new environment, a foreign environment, where those other parts of your brain start to awaken and wake up. And it gives you more energy as a result of it.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to talk about, I feel like you've alluded to a little bit, is the fact that it can be kind of lonely to be an entrepreneur or a business owner. Even I think when you do have a team, um, and I think when you're the boss, like not everyone on your team really understands what you're doing, like what you're experiencing, the problems you're solving, anyways. But also on top of that, last time we talked, one of the things you mentioned about when you got into a really tough spot earlier on and had a lot of debt and made some mistakes, you mentioned that you just didn't have a lot of wise counsel. So I'm curious, like, one, how do you manage the loneliness of being the owner or the entrepreneur? And then two, what does counsel look like for you today?
Yeah, I think to manage the loneliness is kind of like how you did, Mike, is just like reaching out to other entrepreneurs or business owners. Because if you're feeling like that, chances are they're going to feel like that. And then just sharing battle stories, and just getting, just sharing, talking, because it is a hard thing to understand, and there's not a lot of people that do it. And even some people, do have their own businesses, but you don't really relate to them just because, I don't know, you might be a different age or just a different personality type. But I think and that's why I said before, it's like attending, say, seminars and stuff, whether it be business or mindset stuff, is a really important and healthy way and a great way to be in a room with a whole bunch of like-minded individuals. And I think it's like a really, really good way. And I think trying to do it in person as well is more effective, just because so much of communication is through body language, and I think that's just, you only get that through proximity. Um, so that kind of is a way to counter loneliness, and also just like, I don't know, sometimes, like, what I've found is, like, as I've picked up new hobbies, whether it be like more into the outdoors and surfing and hunting and things like that, hiking, is you start to get exposed to different industries. And then it's just a great way as well to meet people and also just see what's going on in a different industry. And I reckon a lot of my good ideas have come from just um, exploring different industries. It's quite fascinating. You're like, oh, that's pretty cool. I'm going to start to apply that to me. And then your other question was, so there's the loneliness thing. What was the other part of the question?
Yeah, you mentioned before that you didn't have the right, like, wise
Oh,
counsel
yes.
around you. So I'm just curious, do you have advisors now? What does that look like?
Yeah, so basically we've formed a board, and it's my two business partners, so Nick and Paul, and also our head of digital and ecom, Rick. And it's basically just us four. Yeah, and then a lot of people ask us, like, who's your advisors? Do you have this and that? And we've kind of kept it between us, really, and it's been a good combination because all of us individually have different experience in different fields. Like, Nick, for example, he's like came from quite a commercial background in Australia, and then Paul was more traditional, say, bricks and mortar retail, and he's older than me, so he's just wiser. And then Rick had his own business, online business, and he's also very digital focused. And then obviously for me, I'm more brand, product, the vision of where we're going as a business. So it's like a quite blessed in the sense where it's a nice, healthy balance of all different aspects of the markets. And then individually as well, we just have friends and whatnot through industry, which we just communicate with individually, but not in a formal sense, just almost like a friendship. It's just like catch up, things like that. And then once a month we come to just a community. Once a month we come to, the board meeting in a formal setting, and we lay out our agenda, and then we just basically discuss different issues, and naturally we all have a different perspective on it, and then it just somehow works. Like it's worked really well. I think the next tier up, once we start scaling even to another level, I think it would be important to get somebody else, perhaps externally, to be the chairman of the board. But I think that's what we've done, and I think just when we've had, like, prior in 2017 for that couple years, like I didn't even have a business partner. I was doing it just solo, and I think that having a business partner or business partners in my instance has been really great in a sense where you've got people that have skin in the game and they're not there just for a paycheck. They really want to build something. They're very passionate about this. They're emotionally and financially invested. They always do what's for the betterment of the company, as opposed to personal gains. Um, and it's just been great. That's essentially my wise counsel from the business sense. And then for my personal stuff as well, I've got like a therapist, and I'll go to different people for different aspects of my life, that I hold a lot of importance on. And I think that stuff's really important, not just having wise counsel in business, but having wise counsel in life. Like looking at, everybody knows someone that you admire for how much energy and vitality they have. Just ask them the fucking questions. It's like, what do you do? What's some advice? Or you might say to someone and they got an amazing relationship, and it's like, what do you do? What do you got? Like, give me some advice. Or there's someone that's like, spiritually more open, and they nothing seems to faze them. It's just like, it's all good. It's like, bro, tell me what you're doing. Yeah, that's the way I kind of view it. So it's kind of, I'm just a seeker of answers, and that's always been me, and I never feel ashamed about doing it. I think it's actually, that is what wisdom is, right? It's just like understanding that you have a blind spot or a shortfall, but having the humility to go out there and ask the question, even if it looks trite, even if it makes you look stupid. A lot of people love answering it and love parting with their wisdom. So I think that's what I've done. So in a business sense and a personal sense.
So good.
It's good stuff.
So obviously, I Love Ugly started for you, and you're an artist, and managing a business, especially an 8-figure business, is a whole different kind of beast. So do you feel like you still get to be creative, and how do you keep the vision clear in the middle of managing the business?
Yeah, I think I'm in a position now where the vision become a lot more clear because I've got a lot more time on my hands to make sure we're not deviating away from that, or if we want to slightly take a bit of a direction, I've got time to do that. But it's made me realize that even though I'm working less, the impact I have is more, just because what I bring to the business is so much more profound and bigger. And then in terms of creativity as well, I just do a lot of like kind of doodling and just kind of mucking around doing art with my kids and things like that. But it's quite cool now, like since I've got a team that actually makes it all happen. I like it when they come to the table with a bunch of ideas, and all I'm doing is sculpting it a little bit and mentoring them. And it's almost like, for me, it's like another form of creativity where I can actually, pull strings and make moves and do stuff that I'm proud of, but actually not physically doing it. And it's just a bit of a different skill set. But I think once again, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. It's just like making sure that you do carve out time, just thinking time, where your laptop's closed, your phone's on airplane mode, and you're just literally thinking, and you're setting a bit of an intention, in the sense where, all right, and in this session, I just want to, figure out where the business is going to be in the next kind of couple years, and what are some potential threats, or what are some opportunities that perhaps I'm not capitalizing on. What are we good at? What are we weak at? What do we need? Just things like that. Just really good questions that then start to kind of stimulate your mind and, start to provoke a little bit of creativity. And I found the best creativity comes when you're not actually doing anything. you just, you're going for a walk or a run, or you're just driving and things just pop up. And you're like, wow, that's an amazing idea. But then it's just like, okay, well, why aren't you spending more time doing nothing? It sounds kind of crazy, but if you spend time doing nothing, like actually nothing, not nothing, but you're on your phone, but like nothing, and your phone's turned off, your laptop's shut, and you're just in a good kind of frame of mind, and you just see whatever flows out. Just let it flow out. It might take a little bit of time. It might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and the first few sessions might be pretty shit, but it's just like everything just needs to be practiced. It's just a muscle. And then that muscle starts to become stronger and stronger, and soon you'll be able to do it on autopilot. It's just like, sweet, I'm going to dedicate this time. I'm going to figure out the answer. And as opposed to taking 40 minutes, it might start to take you 5 minutes. Yeah. So that's kind of what I do now, for the creativity part as well. And as I said, like, I had this feeling that this year was going to be a year where I was going to step away. But once my brother passed, I was forced to step away. And as a result of it, the business has still continued to grow, and people have stepped up as a result of that. And then I've also had to learn to just, figure out what I'm going to start to do next, which has also been quite, daunting in some sense, but exciting in another.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's it. That's super exciting.
Yeah, I feel like, to your point, like they say the best ideas happen in the shower. It's kind of like when you finally have the opportunity to be bored and you've like eliminated distractions, that's where the breakthrough often happens.
Definitely.
So definitely a discipline worth chasing for sure.
I was just going to say another thing as well for like problem solving is, and I've done this a lot, and I read this in the book. It's like before there's a couple minutes before you doze off to sleep. It's like, just say, oh, subconscious mind, help me think of help me solve this problem, and specify the problem. And it goes to work in autopilot while you're asleep. And it's crazy how many times I've woken up and that problem's been solved, and it's so crystal clear about the solution. And then, I'd spent weeks or months trying to figure it out. But then I was just like, let it go and just put it to my subconscious mind. So that's been amazing.
Just the night shift?
Yeah, the night shift.
Your brain's night shift?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to ask a personal question because you mentioned that you're doing more doodling, and I've always kind of kept up with a little bit. I don't feel like you don't share a lot of your art, but you share it here and there on social.
Yeah.
I'm curious, is there anywhere to buy your art, or is that just kind of something you do as your own practice and you don't really make it public?
Yeah, it's kind of more of a practice. What I usually do, I've got like a bit of accumulation of art, but I like to gift it to people, like people that I don't know, are close to me or close to my heart. I'll gift them a piece of art. That's what I usually do. But I think like next year I want to start my own personal website, and it'll be a mixture of like my art plus my other philosophies on life and business stuff as well. Bit of a hybrid. I really want to write a book as well, but I'm trying to figure out the
I was
concept.
just going to say, you should.
Yeah. I think it like definitely won't be a money maker at all, but I think at the same time, I think it's going to help people, and I think that's probably my next step, the evolution of myself as a human being is like helping people. I've now figured out how to grab a product and an idea and bring it to market and scale. But now I want to kind of do that more towards helping people. But I'm not really giving out much energy right now because I want to be very intentional about this next season and actually having a break. And because I know how my mind works, and once I'm focused on something, I'll go into it 100%. So I'm really intentionally just like, I know it's bubbling in the background, but I'm not really giving it much attention. I'm just letting it kind of do its thing. But that's, for my artwork, that's kind of where I'm at.
Nice. Well, no rush.
But I'll let you know.
Take your break. But yeah, when I'll be watching for that website so I can grab something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, this is the last question we always ask, and we asked it last time, but I mean, it's been a year, so there's probably new people on your radar. But who, in your opinion, is making waves right now, and why?
I think that, I'm in a real journey now where I'm just almost rediscovering who I am as a man and father, and what my purpose is on this planet, why I was put here. And I know that what I kind of figured out is one of my purposes, my main purpose is to like live life to its fullest, and then also show people how to do that through my own experience. And then so because of that, and because of that epiphany, I haven't really gravitated more. I haven't gravitated towards like kind of business and cultural type people. I've gone more on like another space. And there's this guy called Danny Morales, and I really like his stuff, just in the sense where he was like this big. I think he was from San Francisco, big real estate agent, and just the typical kind of real estate agent where he's Gucci everything, and all of his happiness and
Right.
his marks and measure of a man was based off how wealthy he was. And then he just one day figured out that he was miserable, and then something clicked in him, and he's like basically sold it all up and went on this different journey of self-discovery and like a real spiritual journey. He got into all sorts of stuff like plant medicine and healing his childhood trauma and things like that. And a lot of his story really resonates with me. And I think he's doing some pretty cool, interesting stuff in that space where it's an amalgamation of like, say, business, finances, relationship, health, and spirituality, but not kind of packaging it in a religious voodoo kind of sense. It's like, shit, I relate to this guy. He's like a real human being operating in this real life. He's not just like escaping to India and meditating in a cave. He's like, he's like living his values and living his higher self amongst working and building a business that also is to be at the service of others. So I think he's making some waves in that sense. I think he's definitely had an impact on me, and just the way he describes stuff. He's pretty intense dude, but I think it's pretty cool. His podcast, I believe, is called The Higher Self, by Danny Morales. I think it's pretty cool. And that's kind of who kind of pops up in mind, to be honest. My youngest brother, he's an absolute beast, and he's like running ultra marathons and 150K runs and Ironmans, and he's just like a next level, and I think all my siblings, I really admire the way we've all individually dealt with the loss of our brother. None of us just resorted to drugs and alcohol. All of us just dug deeper within ourselves. And, my sister just finished a marathon, and she raised a whole bunch of money for mental health. And she gave it to like it was like a mental health trust. All of them have just, really just kind of knuckled down, and just, it's like, shit, okay, let's do this for Jerome, our brother. I reckon, it's just incredible just to have a family where we can all inspire each other. It's truly, it's very, very, very cool. So I don't know, I'm not the sexiest answer, but
solid answers.
Yeah, just being real, and that's what resonated. That's what came up with me.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's good. It's good to see where your head's at and who's making a difference in the way you're thinking about things. So, man, that's a wrap. That's it. That was a lot. I appreciate you, as always, coming on and sharing your insight and your experience. And I feel like we'll probably end up doing this again, just the rate we're at right now. But for now, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and apologies if I sound a little rusty. As I said, I hadn't done this for a while, and it's like my brain was full of ideas, and it was trying to articulate it in a certain way without being all mumble jumble. But yeah, I appreciate it, you guys. Thanks for having me on again.
It was all good. It was all good, as always.
Thank you. It was great.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for tuning into Waves. If you enjoyed this episode, you can hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, or give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to follow along on social at Hello Arcade, and we will see you next time.